Good morning. It is 7:08 a.m. on Tuesday. I almost said Monday. Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Technically, once again, I kind of got poking around on the internet and distracted, and I actually watched a YouTube video about how accurate various naval battle scenes from movies are. Just for your own information, the biggest takeaway I got from that is something that I hadn't really thought about before, but does make sense, which is to say that in movies, and when you're depicting at least, old sailing ship battles, the ships sink too fast because they're made of wood, and wood floats kind of all by itself. So just because you put a hole in the deck does not mean that a whole wooden ship will just sink below the surface, because it's mostly made of things that still actually do float. And you know what? That makes sense. I also liked that the segment that they got from Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, was ranked 10 out of 10 for accuracy, um, which, just that's a great movie, and I think people should see it. Uh, this is not a video that's about naval combat, though. That's just kind of a coincidence. Instead, it is a video about how I apparently forgot to reschedule my doctor's appointment. So my little calendar told me, yep, it's today. But then I vaguely recall, wait a minute, didn't a month ago I get a call from my doctor's office that I needed to reschedule it? And I said it wasn't a good time. And they said, okay. And then I didn't call back. And I guess I just don't have an appointment now. I probably should reschedule one. It's just a checkup, so it's not a big deal. I'm feeling fine, so it's not like there's nothing urgent about it, I guess, except that now is the time that, she said, I'll see you in 6 months. And, well, I could have, but, Anyway, though, I think that's just a reminder of, like, oh, yeah, that was something I meant to do. So I've been, let me catch up a little bit. Over the weekend, there was a couple of things that I was going to mention and then just kind of ran out of time for. So let me talk a little bit about them now. One is the Netflix cartoon show Centaur-World. The basic premise of this show is that you have a war horse from one cartoon. It looks a little bit like maybe D&D crossed with Legend of Korra, just in terms of like the animation style. But then through a magical artifact interaction, this horse finds themselves in Centaur-World, which is a much more sort of adventure-timey looking world filled with creatures that are all some variety of centaur, although some of them, like anatomy, is a little bit negotiable in that world. But so our horse, who's named Horse, can suddenly talk, to her own surprise, and is now going to have to deal with the zany inhabitants of this place in order to try to find her way home and back to her rider. And this show is a hard sell because it's very strange. What I will say is that, like, if you watch the little preview for it, it will certainly do a good job of selling you, like, the very silly, zany, goofy aspects of it. But what I will say about it is that it has some surprisingly hard-hitting, like, dramatic elements too, as well as some light horror. I think that when I say light, I mean, like, kid suitable. But the yeah, like, this show is not what you might be expecting. It's I think Adventure Time is probably the closest analog. I said this on Twitter, and I just stand by it. I think, which is just to say that it mixes a lot of really silly antics and goofball, characters and surreal humor and everything with some more serious stuff going on. Um, like in particular, when Horse was separated from her rider, it was under very dire circumstances that looked like really a bad situation for the rider, and like the rider might be in mortal danger. And so there's a sense of urgency of like, I have to get back, and all of these things are stopping me. But like, there's, yeah. So I don't know. It's good. What I'll say is it's a very weird show in a way that I very much enjoyed. So obviously, this is a show that's not a recommend for everyone, but I don't know if anything I've described so far seems like at all up your alley. I recommend giving it a shot. The other thing is that I finally got into Ghost of Tsushima, and somewhat predictably, I really like it. I never thought that I wouldn't, but turns out I do. Um, I'm playing it on the PS5 with the director's cut version, and it's super pretty, and the gameplay is fun, and I'm just, it's been a little while since I did a big open world style game like this. I mean, I guess in a way, Subnautica was kind of a little bit like that, but this is sort of a more traditional open world stuff, and the gameplay's fun, and I'm liking the story, and it's just all good. So thumbs up for this old game that is new to me. All right, I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes. So many levels tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So you can check that out on Twitch, and that's it. I need to stop plugging things after I say the sign off.